291, the target Afghanistan had set for Australia to defeat them. At the Wankhede Stadium and against the Afghani bowlers, the run chase seemed almost impossible, and the Aussies almost failed.
Late ball. Oh, got him! Out! As McCall's on a hat-trick!
If it weren't for one man, Glenn Maxwell.
And Maxwell hits it! High! Glenn Maxwell! Unbelievable!
A fearless run chaser who stunned the cricketing world with one inning and gave Australia the push it needed to win the biggest trophy of them all, 2023 World Cup.
Champions.
Today, we talk about the magical inning that determined Team Australia's fate to win it all. The one-man army. That's what fans call him. You don't earn a nickname like this for no reason.
He's the most skillful player I've ever seen, I think. Yeah, it's insane.
Maxwell is one of the most feared players in the history of cricket because of the way that he can single-handedly change the results of a match.
Maxwell hits it! High! Can it make it? Glenn Maxwell!
The journey of Glenn Maxwell didn't start the way that we see him today. Maxwell started off as a pacer and tried out for other sports such as golf and tennis. However, pretty soon he would realize that cricket was his one true love, and that he wasn't meant to be a pacer, but rather an off-spinner who keeps batters guessing with his smart variations. While he's more than capable with the ball, his abilities with the bat are what make him the worst nightmare for the opposition. An explosive middle-order batsman, his high-stake rate means that he is limited over specialists.
When Maxi's batting, which is not an easy position to be because it feels like there's something happening every ball.
He is one of the best power hitters in the game, using his open stance and strong physique to pull classic shots with ease or try unconventional shots such as pulls and reverse sweeps to catch bowlers off guard.
This one hit better!
Whether it comes to bowling, batting, or fielding, Maxwell is always fearless. He's not afraid to take risks and go for big shots or bowl some odd deliveries. These risks make him a bit inconsistent, but on his day, you don't want to go against Glenn Maxwell.
Oh, reverse.
Shot of the series! Don't worry about that!
While he's a terrifying player, he's actually a pretty nice person. He's universally cherished because of his big bright smile and wholesome attitude. He doesn't take himself too seriously, and he has a great sense of humor. He seems to have a strong bond with his teammates who are not afraid to point out his lacking. On the other hand, he was super excited at the opportunity to mimic them. Another reason why he's so beloved is simply that he's humble and down to earth. Take the interaction with UAE locals, for instance. He seems genuinely happy to play with them. This kind of positive behavior has made him a fan favorite worldwide.
Oh no, that's our fielder! What a great catch!
But he's not all smiles and giggles. He does get mad sometimes, as seen in his match against Sri Lanka.
Still going. Not happy at all, some of these players.
He even got really sad when he was criticized for his performance in the Big Bash League.
Asked me if I was match fixing, if I was doing all sorts of stuff, and I was pretty depressed. I was flat. I was low.
Maxwell is one of the best players out there when it comes to white ball cricket. He's a legend for both his domestic Big Bash League and the IPL, proving his worth with teams such as Melbourne Stars, Delhi Daredevils, Mumbai Indians, King 11 Punjab, and most recently Royal Challengers Bangalore. Maxwell is a beast when it comes to international events. He was an important part of the 2015 World Cup winning side as the third highest scorer for Australia with 324 runs. He then helped his nation win the 2021 T20 World Cup later on.
5 times 50 over men's World Cup champions, T20 World Cup trophy, and it is richly deserved.
So for the 2023 World Cup, there was a lot of weight on his shoulders, and he delivered almost instantly by getting the fastest century in World Cup history against the Netherlands. It took him just 40 balls. This way, he made Australia look even more dominating and proved them to be Team India's greatest rival.
And again, Glenn Maxwell goes to 100.
After impressing against both Netherlands and New Zealand, Maxwell seemed set to become a star for this World Cup. Unfortunately, his hot streak would come to an end due to a golf cart injury that would render him unable to play the following game against England. This was a bit of a bummer, as Australia were on a 4-win streak, and losing this match would really kill their momentum. The good news is, Australia defeated England rather convincingly. They beat their Ashes rivals by 33 runs, keeping tight control over the match the entire time.
The game and the day belongs to Australia.
Even better news for Australia was that the Big Show had recovered in time for their next fixture, to fight for the top 4 against Afghanistan. Maxwell's greatest innings of World Cup 2023 was yet to unleash. Afghanistan was an interesting opponent. Before the World Cup, everybody assumed that they wouldn't even make it to a championship trophy spot, let alone the semifinals. The Afghans proved everyone wrong. This underdog team were also on a hot 3-game winning streak. What's even more impressive is that they beat former world champions England too. So what seemed like an easy fixture on paper started to worry the baggy greens.
Bowled in! Afghanistan have the greatest victory in their history.
It was the magical night at Wankhede Stadium. The typical score for this field is around 250, and given the fact that Afghanistan did not have the strongest batting lineup, whereas Australia had one of the strongest bowling attacks in the world, we can't really blame the Kangaroos for feeling confident about the upcoming match. Unfortunately, even before the match started, Australia was at a disadvantage by losing the toss. Afghanistan, recognizing Australia's incredible batting talent, understood that a chase would be too difficult, so they made the wise decision of batting first. All Australia had to do was keep them limited to a low score, and they would have 1 foot in the knockouts. This, however, was not an easy task. Afghani opener Ibrahim Zadran was here to make a statement. The 24-year-old batsman absolutely stunned experienced bowlers such as Stark, Lyon, and Cummins with his smooth shots and amazing running.
That is unbelievable.
Zadran would go on and score 129 off of just 143 balls, becoming the first Afghani to score a century in the World Cup.
And for Afghanistan.
His amazing individual performance helped Afghanistan get an outstanding total of 290. This was a huge target for his pitch and against such a strong bowling side. How strong was Afghanistan's bowling? Rashid Khan, Mujibur Rahman, and Mohammad Nabi all ranked in the top 10 ODI bowlers going into the World Cup. This trio was an absolute nightmare for any batting side. The one tiny bit of good news going into the chase was that Afghanistan had just 2 seam bowlers. Since the pitch favored seamers, they just needed to get through their overs and keep up the hope. Well, hope was lost almost immediately as seamer Naveen Al-Haq took 2 early wickets within 6 overs. The batsman did not have an answer for his quick deliveries, but the nightmare was far from over, as he wasn't the only pace bowler the Aussies had to worry about. Before long, they were introduced to Azmatullah Amarzai, who took 2 wickets on the bounce in the 9th over,
Azmatullah's on a hat-trick!
forcing Maxwell to come onto the field. How did he start this legendary inning of his? By almost getting out in the first ball. That's right, Amarzai, who was on a hat-trick, bowled a zippy delivery that Afghanis believed hit Maxi right in the pad. To their dismay, the umpire did not believe it was an LBW, and upon review, they would find that the ball hit the bat and not the ball. This was a sigh of relief, but it was short-lived as the team had now started to struggle against spin. In the 15th over, things took a turn for the worse as Australia's last top-order batsman, Labuschagne, was run out. Rashid Khan added to their misery by grabbing a wicket to start the 17th over and another in the 19th over. The team was complete at this point.
That is a catch! That is a catch!
In the 21st over, it was almost game over as Khan would take the wicket of our beloved Maxwell, but again, he got lucky as Afghani captain Hashmatullah Shahidi dropped the catch. It seemed to be Maxi's lucky day as the very next over, he would see another catch dropped by Mujibur Rahman. And to make the situation worse, that was an easy catch. But what's more shocking is the moments before. He escaped an LBW by a whisker and retained his wicket with a successful review. Even though Maxwell kept avoiding dismissal, Australia's chances still seemed bleak with Cricinfo giving them just a 46% chance of winning in the 19th over when they were at 95 runs, losing 7 wickets, and needed 197 runs off 186 balls. We wouldn't disagree with them. That's a massive target to hit with just 3 wickets in hand. When Australia's fans were losing hope, something clicked and Maxwell decided to go all out. He started playing insane shots. One particular shot that stands out is how he blasted a half volley on a seam ball outside of stump with a reverse sweep for a giant 6. Meanwhile, his fellow batsman Pat Cummins saw the master in action and decided to just relax by not giving his wicket. Maxwell was on fire. His strike rate was through the roof and he punished every sloppy delivery with a boundary. What's most impressive is that these were economic bowlers who restricted other major teams to very low run rates, but Maxwell didn't really care.
Oh my goodness me!
Unfortunately, his body was struggling to cope with this much pressure. Maxwell had a back injury, and playing for this long gave him cramps. So when Zampa rushed towards the pitch as soon as Maxi collapsed to the floor, everyone was expecting him to go back to the dressing room. But he said no. Maxwell's job was not done, and he soldiered through the pain to make sure his country made it to the knockouts. He knew having two bowlers on the field was just too risky. But what good is a batsman who can't run or do any footwork? Maxi answered this question in style. Completely changing his playing style, Maxwell chose a stance and made it his base for arm extensions. From this point on, it was purely power hitting. Through some excellent shots and his strong willpower, Maxi broke several records and led his team to victory in style with a 6 in the last ball to have a score of 201 off of just 128 balls. This inning is up there with Kapil Dev's knock against Zimbabwe and Kevin O'Brien's upset against England. He broke several records, including the highest non-opener ODI total, the highest ODI total in chase, and the fastest World Cup double century ever. If we tried to name all the records, we'd be stuck here all day. This is widely regarded as one of the best performances of all time in the history of cricket.
Australia is into the semi-finals of the Cricket World Cup, and they have Glenn Maxwell to thank for it.
Several renowned cricket pundits, such as Dinesh Karthik, Harsha Bogle, and Simon Dole were shocked at his performance. Australia's captain and the batsman of the other end of the pavilion, Pat Cummins, as well as former Australia captain Mark Taylor, have both labelled this inning as one of the greatest of all time.
That's the greatest ODI innings I've ever seen.
This single inning solidified the push Team Australia needed to maintain their momentum and dominate other teams with ease. Also, Maxwell maintained his dominating form throughout the tournament.
High!
In fact, he was the one to make the winning runs for the 2023 World Cup win.
He'll come back for 2. And Australia win the World Cup for the 6th time and in front of 120,000 people.
Whatever your take is on that, one thing is for sure. The world will never forget the magical night at Wankhede Stadium.